All right, so it's been cooking for about 40 minutes, and we're about ready to release the pressure and open it up, and we're going to strain it into a bowl. So why don't you tell us, Barbara, a little bit about safely releasing it?
Yeah, so as you can tell, the timer just went off, and so there's two ways that the pressure can be released from an electronic programmable pressure cooker such as this. And you always want to follow whatever the recipe calls for. And so in the recipe today that we were using, it said for us to manually release the pressure. Sometimes it might say for the pressure to be naturally released. And so when the pressure is naturally released, that means that the unit that you're using is going to actually come down from the pressure that it's come up to naturally, obviously, since it is naturally released. Which will then enable the lid to be taken off. If we manually release the pressure, that means that we're doing a quick release, that we are forcing the pressure out of the cooker, which can cause some safety issues if you're not careful, and so there's a proper way to do it. First of all, you never want to stand directly over it because you have a vent steam area right here, that a large amount of steam is going to come flying up when we do release the pressure, and it could cause burning on your face. Another thing that you want to be cognizant about too is you want to make sure that your hands are protected, because when you do release the pressure, you don't want to receive any burn. So I always encourage people when they do manually release pressure from one of these units that they cover their hand using an oven mitt of some sort, or even just a kitchen towel. So the best way, because I don't want to do it this way because then my hand is actually facing over the vent, I'm going to come around and always face the front of the unit to do so. And then I've got to take it off, the lid off anyway. So as you can see, it was in the sealing position here, so I'm just going to simply turn it to the sides where it can release its pressure naturally. And you can see all of that steam is really coming out. Once all of that steam has released, the little red button that has still popped up in the back will start to slowly descend and come down, because that's showing that it is locked because it's still under pressure. And so once the pressure has deflated, essentially just like a deflated balloon, that will go down, and we will know that the lid is able to come off. If I tried to take the lid off right now, I wouldn't be able to.
Right.
And we can actually go ahead and turn the unit off as well, because it's no need for the heating element to stay on at this point.
And is this safe to cook on different surfaces? Does it get hot underneath? It doesn't.
No, it doesn't get hot underneath. So it's well insulated. All of these units, despite whatever brand it is, they're well insulated on the outside. The heating element is on the bottom, but it's on the inside of the unit. So these are perfectly safe to keep on your counter. What we do warn against when I do teach my classes on food safety and safe use of these appliances, regardless of what model you have or what brand you have, is that you don't utilize this underneath the cabinet. So if you have kitchen cabinets on your counter, you wouldn't want to have this underneath, because when the pressure does release, as you're seeing, then you're going to see the steam and the hot air escape, and then that can cause some damage underneath any kitchen counters that you might have. So that's something to keep in mind. You do want to keep it out in an open area so the heat can escape.
Okay.
Another safety precaution that you're going to want to use, that we'll show in just a second, is when you take the lid off. And when you take the lid off, you're always going to want to turn it and take it off away from you. And so when I do that, I'll have you step to the side, Sam, because you never want to turn the lid towards you, because if there's any hot liquid that could splash, it could splash onto you. Plus, there's going to still be some big release of steam, just like if you were opening a normal stock pot. And you don't want that unwanted facial that you're not getting from a spa, from,
exactly.
from the pressure cooker. But it did cook for quite a long time. It cooked for 40 minutes under pressure, and then took quite a while to come up to pressure. The total time was almost an hour. for this stock, for this bay laurel stock. And so thus it's taking quite a long time to come down to release its pressure.